Mame ma wache na me ma wo akwaba emra Adom TV so ene anopai ene ye da memene da ahini me bosome da to so aduonu nkron e won fempimie no ene aduonu mu aduonu mienu mu na ene da yi ye sinkonwa sede na wotwe bia ye de ebre wo no ene ye be hwe ensem akuku dambi a ekoso na emu nkita odien so no egina ye pa na wotwe mu ena ye bedi mu komo ediama wo obesa tie ye ewo asempa 94.7 Edia mejeso ene abena pokoa ahwene na ene enkomo a yebedie no de di kan yebehwe emrasimdwafo bebro aduowotwe eche kra no dom kese ba no dani onabo seche mensa bonso menya ne nteso mo yebese 95 aduokrunum ena eka ese yewura kenoforiata amampani emanefo da djuma ento nchen ena panyi ba ko so no so amampani aso ya wo hwe sikasem so chasadubu ahin ekwowi achi wo mo ana ka wo masem wo mo chese wo masa atwe asan akoduru mpempenso a omampani di ama wo mo se wo makwan na kenoforiata enwie IMF enkita hodie no na 2023 akomabosika budget a wode beba nso wonye ho adwuma emfa emedrum na sebedwafe no munyintum na wo wie a na eno atire wo mahunu na kwan de ekeka kono akoye se wetumane ye hye ba bia sankomo ni nyina no awie anopayi eno achi nso no enam tebia oman no ewo mu enne eni sedia enkitawodie ekwa hokyeraba na aban no epe kwan a wofa so amaneoma ani adane no ye kase cabinet ene omampani enna soafo binum ni mpanyifo bi aka omutie kru wamo eye enhyemodie dendenden ya wodwene ho na nyame yadoma kwasieda ye omampani ni ganafo bekasa afa oman sikasem totoye ho no wamo abobo bi so ade akye yen ye bedi mu nkomo ebi no adi kan aba abonten ama Bank of Ghana kra bekasa no krabia eni sansem nim batana ye behwe ede nioma ben sa na wususu se aban no ebetumedi aba ebedane sikasem nani amatima muni no so eho ato no we muni nkomo bi eka ho na ye behwe eni mpanyifo bi edi mu nkomo edi ama wo ewo na watwe dwumadie so kame ho na mekwaba ye bapa abadwafo amenyom ebedi dwumayi meda wo madi edi akire wo obedwane yen ewo Facebook eye Adom TV na wajwani asempa 94.7 enso ewo radio abena pokoa ahwene eye medin ye basisia Mame ma wakwaba ebiem emra Adom TV so na asempa 94.7 na mensankai wo se wokbomoden na wokọ eye DSTV channel 280 ubenya Adom TV sanso na Go TV channel 178 ehon so behwe Adom TV nti ya na wakaye ese DSTV channel 280 and Go TV channel 178 ubeka che live na Facebook live so edem wajoni ana wa share na wofoforo so atede ekoso ye bedi nkomo ewo ahoma so na femi ba madam guest wabeka me ho adi achewo Yera Thomas Buaben ewo ho ye no ebehwe enkomodie die asie na wotwe mu babia yede ehyasie no mrasebedwafie na mrasebedwafo ebebro be se aduowotwe ekire se the finance minister kenoforiata ontumi mu agana nti omampani ma ntina nchen na chasadubu ahin yen sem komodie na se Mr. Buaben ya mu achi anopai e ba chote menka okay ye hwese ye benya Yera Buaben na wakan ho na sabredi director of external affairs edema MPP wakame ho ewo studio Kofi Ameyaw Martin
Nya ba ye nyo netin
nyame adom ba bia free
baby I'm free there boko enya so ye be fa ni sa
enye sa o
enya mundo sa o
sa ede nyoma sa na hwa emamunyo no
oh na no me kai me de mfoni bi kra betu mi social media si akra wo costos no omo de nkrata abo ho se omo fanche eye omo digwa won fanche omo isanse enyoma no omo beba na ne bo kwa na ekoso na enyoma mfom so a enam wiase nyoma boide so everywhere is a bit difficult, especially when yankasi yakitwa no kra bin sam become so but notwithstanding I think that you won't quite near word nyame ama yenkwa bansa na no mamincha wankasa mehu wache Na minya position say member.
Oma into cry be share that my special congratulations.
Wada mama that's me that's. Na me nchia eye ahwefo nyina ene etie for so sa. Me da ma sene omo paibo. Me I think me started my political career a bit from ASM Panomo Yokukuntun program. So I'm grateful. So far, Bibia, you're okay.
Yeah, they're ready.
Bibia, you're okay. But Bibia is shedding your okay, sir. And you're more thing. And you're more thing. Utofu or not. Can enter the autonomy to serve you. Maybe me pe kukupa me to 150.
150 pesos.
Basic.
Anka first nanka one sa 150 no
ka one nimpo nya 150 nimpo ka one nka bon so rubber na tintin basis see 150 no cry rubber basis so it's tough
man so mo feel the heat no
you see
Gana ni bi kan nya se bi o NDC ni bi na wo kan
you see message ya tire no say and mami be 1 minute e bia wo nipa ne ba line so am sabo abemba no afa
mate
the edi kan one the facts and figures no and your man chile say your man enkoye ye na eba ye nimu kane se Ghana fo kem esu a ye na eba ye nimu kane. In fact, even at the presidency we have a research director, somebody in charge of research or kwabontin ko bisa say den na your man ko. Even at the party level we have a research director. So Daniel Brenina ye nhwehwemu ehu the pulse of Ghanaians say enyo ekosen. So we understand and we appreciate say enyo enkoye. Okay. And in fact, we share a budget statement. You see, idea mama penny on to mean Dakran as they say Ghana for Honchilom. None of your man penny abedi they call a Central Region Koshia MPP Mebruno. Or did to say I want ho. That was even a couple of months ago. Okay. That was in April. So we still believe that Nyoma Moding. That is why the president and you may be Bebe Kasan. Then two, the success of any political party in power and it depends on Ghana for home betom. And it's Ghana ni home tonwa. So for example, Mimi Kofi I'll say MPP wa bemwa and I say be and you be koyi. MPP ni abema munkoyi. And the only reason why MPP will not be in government is because ebi Ghana for home chiro mom koto abombe to aba etia MPP for. So I didn't think I mean feel you omo hit no mo pain. Na mean to na mo ebema omo ho han ha. Mate,
me da se Kofi. Ma me kwa homa so Yura Thomas Boabin abekan ho ye mo aten agya Doc ye mo aten
Bajo temenkan
Dr. Boabin temenkan
Bajo me to nkapa na azo temenkan
yo ye da se ene ebra wanya dema yen anopai na enkomo ne nkitahodi a ekoso da wotwe mu nyina no afam over 80 members of parliament are almost the MPP side and a declare say Kenoforiata into me Ghana into Mampani a unison chanyon nkoa Chasadu Buahin so in charge of finance our Mampani asye now so a Mampani in some more Kenyan and Mampani jetum say Mumman bre I swa bese na watching me and Sanko Ben na watching Sia na on fanwie I am a finkita no na budget ne krempo no on present to parliament na ehun komo ento aso na ewia o mahunu na kwan baby a wote de omo de buy the response from the president no ene wo mo so said o magye atum no wo sha move na omo make ye no enya impact bi ana
lo me da si emfa kwanye so na me chia atifo ni ahwefo ni na
Dr. Boabin Pacho on mute homa me kakra wadarama. Okay.
Bajo temenkan
Doc Pacho kasa
yo me say me pese me fa kwanye so na me chia ahwefo ni atifo nyina na mo fa ncheme hwe me no nse mabre bo sunya na me no kasa me duru ha be 2 hours ni and I spent the entire night traveling.
Okay.
Coming back to your question, say the akosu ni nyina am say Ghana fo nyina ye nim sem we nye party sem amani mo edin ewi asia edin and ye nyina obi aso mpe ahokyere and ye ho hiahia and binmu a mo akwanya omo ayusu sa akwanya no na omo de a protest to the extent say omo de fi se bia finance minister and say nipa we nto mo hihie mu no say almost free wha and near my best Enti I say a can be so no a more decision until a new council will be a no problem. The toss me no man penny so I respond and I was say oh my camati my fishing no dear mayor name mamma a break akra, which is the best response Sebi penny bit me de ama. If you say I'm passing man penny can say finance minister ne deputy and I said the other minister no cry no common coin menu wha ntimi sorry anopa enya a whole finance ministry ho enfant ho at least say hand over ho nema bibri ho in say Ghana budget ye kind of bosumi away enemy yes ansin say nema bibri in a cost nti so say o na otwe mi ensa na otwe nan na otwe nsia ntem ye mfanto to nema no hwe na okokora ho na eba ni nyina ye ntoto ye and the thing said the response no is appropriate. And I dear de ba kwa a womb ema o mining nyina nya ndisi nya MPP. And they said omo ka say finance minister nko no. Omo kire say enye sebi o time bi no mo time no. Bibi and omo fi say ono free hwa ebe koyi ama o mining nyina. To man panyin kan no mo say nana waka yanso yati. I just say it is in order.
Na anamona omutu ye no obi beka say we no unprecedented ho abakosem no den kra ye ntibi obeka say enye susudua bi a hu de ma MPP ebi kra hyase tage so wo hwemu a asantefo no edroso pa former central regional minister akambi yewra kwamena danka naka sanso the former regional me fa ne say constituency chairman Edmani Jabe North MPP Kwadwo Boato no so kan bia ase omo tage ebi kura che so we de ohwa the vice president bomia kura na techire enya de bi hu de ma party no ohwe se de tag na ekokoso no ha
oh enya ma bi ho dia bitnya ka say suggestive bi mo ase and then I'm from mem ase ya kire sa but evidence be any ho yeah idea you share policy in politics near the end of the day. This will never be gina so answer. But I never can hear pass on say unprecedented. But there are so many positive implications. And my papa be brain with me free for a ruling political party members be etimi edify etimi a challenge etimi and make such a bold statement. Africa and times me I feel go to the research and you know positively natural say a democracy no e ko nim pa e san so kire say e o man no we nya ndisi nya MPP e san so kire say party no ene presidency no government no so so ye dentem omonya ba ko ani kwase omo kabom na de government no be ka bia na party ni de akini da bi enti no e won so papa bebre ewum na emu mahwie na o se ye hwen se ye koye nim na enkoye se kakra bi a bibi kura amwa obi a na se nye in the national interest I say aye na ye parliament nti AC ana AC but generally no enye adeboni bebre sa
Enti kwan ben na was president no ofa so na o manage sa situation we say wo ka so mo ma wo ebre na onipa ne fan we ne dwumade no eye ina afa na
I'm say a very smart move. Apart from say or say ye man of brain no fan to I am some ye na fi budget ye no it's an opportunity for him. So I'm also so afifim no why consultations na more also no din kuta hodie in say the president there His Excellency Nanado or open groups be powerful. Oh, mine mono. A opportunity man. Say a man of Bracey, no, bet me a consult to discuss here. Some passe or bequa, why never be seen a nine. And she a very good. Say, obey me at this space and also, in addition to IMF budget seminar, attitude near maybe brave. Nese to talk, not to turn up when we said, Ubia Akuma Betoni, Niemua, Yen and Yen Yepe. May assure us a near mass son. Na inflation ko form, na dollar no stabilize it, na manfubu to me dra. President Nipa, Nani Baji Cane. Ono na Nani Baji Cane, and Sana Minumi no so, Yenia Jatuaso. And he may assure us it's an opportunity for him. So by the also ye be na bra a simuno. And I'm all be true about my yina your a higher cacran because every woman dear said we can say every bonnet. And yet, party as everybody, the whole world, everybody, the whole country.
And he said, "If said 3 weeks, Omampani, Ediama MPC, Ekowie, na IMF negotiations, Nina Kwawi, budget were presented, it has been approved. Na, o Master Momokan, Omampani, and Fanya Juma. And soon, so Ben, a Benya or party, so any day within the MPP, no, in future."
I'm ready. I said, "But so bizarre question. Because I say, about some sacred day in BC." And he commenced to say, "Already, Papa, I'm say, or the one funny seven of president." Yes, said you sit here, no, or the Ahobrasi, and you boo, I'm a MPC, no, and was a mamma break. And he come message a young chancel. The brand no any reaction na maybe me can be afa one na can fa ho
but one so no ko shepeteta kremo a ugi this is na watwe miensa na watwe nsie ya omode ma no ebedu hwa ma omampani akasa wayi no ana anabeka so wo watumi asakra ne menti no onto aso wo de wa wo hye se de ekona
se de musika ye no papa no minim na chu na do minim na che pa bibia ni ho a bi mu kra ye nya adwiri bi say osuro ministers ni bi osuro bia o obetimi aye de opese wo yi bia enti na make say ye ntwen we enye se bibia e betimi aka say o research bi ye na no kire say waka say ni ti bisi e bi nsi da na me say de o si dwen o man no ho no o de ho agba for ya man for the past decades e bi si ne no bi ti bia no obefa adwene na say obisi gina ya e de o man no be konanim because adwuma ye nyina no so si gina ya e de o man no be konanim na just wa bregu kwa na me sure say onye bibia e be sade say wa bregu kwa obaye de be bo aga na fo nyina tie nyina mo mpa ma no na ye hope say e benya the right decision be ma Ghana fo bo ato yem but one fundamental thing is yen hwe ye ni yan konya adwene bi say finance minister free ho a bibia be yi e kina na de chie yen hwe ye ni yan konya sa adwene no hwe a be da na de England ye ni bi the 2 months benya 3 heads of states sorry awe the esi ho
me awe pa
2 months omanya heads of state mi yansa ye nya botire kakra edin enye easy o utofuela edin obi anso mpa ho kire wo wiase enti no ye mompaye se de be ya de be free mu aba no ye nyina ho be hare ye ukoto do kuna ye misa so ye MPP ni ana we NDC ni ana we lecturer ana we journalist ye nyina kan
na wo kan bibi se omampani onsuro soafo bia enya wo nwanwa se omampani baye there are some ministers the first time on yom nyina na career wom true the first time nyina within the second term 2 years ago omuguso ho no and estimation in say such persons are better for the whole 8 years our by now say what the ministry no ama ebi motekafa no crack who be na ma the course say ebi mu ye incompetent e wo se wo yi wo no eba enye wo nwanwa eye normal say whole 8 year rule na ye the minister bako e betina one ministry throughout
we bibi o ha obi ana na dwene but the fundamental question is president na mu no 8 years or to ho yen sesa no once somebody so 8 years. Positions are more critical than minister's position.
Okay.
Enti say yes, son will be, and yes, son will be, yes, son baby lands and forestry, and baby who was some. Nay, your deputy regional ministers, or you, Mafiho. Enti men Casabia minister be a year you may who be some margin mono, or Kukumua, a bit more memo issues with them. Yes, it be on my bonny beer, but be almost town. But in his opinion, until our constitution is so clear, Onuna Emran Rapon Amano Quine, a Nabai. And so Fee said, the air caution a year. Sabi, you bet me and your Bibia Cassetia. To say, I can say, once a gun and be a coach, football coach. The blaster of Bobo, would you be? And you hire a Nyabotreka cry.
Okay.
One name. The intia. Also, we could be a minister, not necessarily because of competence. Constitution is that there should be regional balance.
Okay.
Yes, there should be regional balance. Until you can't obey your competence in Kwa, make us a here. Now, but pay a PhD, long CV, now the year. When you buy a hospital, not ethnic group be or not religion be or not region be or her, where you mean in every entirely. And Tiana no on my and I yes, I just sit Nessa or far kama. Meno Casa Upa and Traba. Say finance minister opposite say, who be in Traba man as a woman cosum Twaswa. I had drink. Nemum, dear Amrana Yajatun say the big hono, and I debe govern hono. The Akan is a president and on to Sanya man. You are drinking chra, say, oh. Bibia tia it meka na otie nyase wonte wo meni baba pa oti bibia e kan bia na otie ni nyina na wafa you onu fi se ebeboae ye fi se de ye kan na ebeboae but enye no ate se woni akura ti fi na auto de bia auto sweet ma no oye obesun sesi a because woni say sweet na ebeboa no but no kra say sweet na ebeboa akura na nti pamcho ehia sere me kan de nyina ye pen kanko nyina ye pen yiyo nyina ye de genum bi ye nya botre mate ye koso wiase nyina no aye so ye nya echefa no ye mompa ye se urade be hu emobo na obema no nyansam ene adwene apomuden na odi afa ba bia e be free sa hotre
mate Dr. Boaben, any expectations nyambo ochina omampade ne Ghana for be kasa ewo economy no so ene enhyehyɛ omode gu akwan so wo bibia wo hwɛ nim sɛ wobɛte ana
o ene ma mienu me disappointed say nana anyi antum anka say ene memu ayedie ndi expect say obɛgye atum ama Ghana fo nyina hu say ene memu ayedie ono so akum ono so atimu bi mo bi enya adwene say ahwe bɛka say one day sorry out bi etimu nti asenka no bibia ni wiase a ono de go through near psychological torture. O TV and yamshim, who be an and yamashim. Say, I could go cry when you create me she any pano or mocasan. Papa no so bread. And I expect Sir Obedia Tum, no I catch Ghana Funina, the second one. And he said, and Yama or dear Buko Muntino. And it does all. Achia, I had a bit more can say crisis in India, we are not in crisis. We have challenges. The challenges can be addressed. And see, these are the two things that me expect to see Yaman and change.
Mate. Dr. Boaben, that's say, and you're when you're dear.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Thomas Boaben, and I was saying, Canon, see, Nedia, ya no so ewo, and I want near channel. Enche mekwa homa so na mene Dr. George Donfe mene ono so adi nkomo na ehwo no so no economy se ba ne sikasem ne mu ntoto ya wa join ye ma menkwa homa so Dr. George Donfe ye mo achi anopai
me na ba mejo so
ye da se ene ebra wanya ade amayen na enkomo ni nyina no ye hye oman ba bia sikasem na kwakogina ene sede etimamuni no e feel heat no e woni botom yenim say 3 days na cabinet no abomode akosia ya omodwenje ho enche omampani de ho sembe ba beto Ghana fo anim asembisa no ame bia me de wo free no cabinet retreat no any wo expectation as an economist from a hono de wo chance wo bete so omampani ene na pamfo edi aba so mode ye adwuma adane sikasem tutu enani
Nini aba mame na wase ewo akwanya sonko a odi ama me enyi na me kanisa nso me ntia ona otie ne ona wo hwe na nini aba sede na nini apanyini Dr. Boaben Ekan menene ya adwen ewo ne almost everything he said okwase me asete ni mu ayedin pa na ne de example say baby amete ya de bia ne pa me ka ekolegon ekudi njuma na nka osole no pa na wo kwa traffic ka wudi mu na enye asemwa enso so na kakra ni ofuka ekwanzo ayehwe traffic ni ho entre heat bia enfama boni bia abo afakuru ama ebia ka bibia enfama boni no de na ebo ye nyema mini ana edisa ansemiaba the friend of farm wo tutumo petrol sem ene the friend of inflation enema enso ye tututumo eko eso eneso edmini asa na ema mini we ena aye challenge so the yemia Boaben Ekan dey and all say we are not in crisis, we are in we have challenges at hand because the entire economy now the question me say the economy the economy is collapsing. But is the nipa be politics say economy no collapse. Now kakra as a student of economics, the cancer economy collapse. The same economy so it grow negatively. Since 1983, you need a negative growth. Now, indeed, last year, economy grew 5.4%. Yeah, one of the highest growth rates. Your entire economy now. Section B, this agricultural sector, the manufacturing. Historically, you know, Kayinesa, in 2 pound agriculture, any manufacturing, said and they home. Now, many are said especially last week, that's already last week, $1, not a 11 cities. Young come be a week, not a 15 cities. Not a wash. I mean, sure, say, no, ma, Ghana for a 10 pension, Emma and Chamara, any O'Harry, so a cabinet, yes, almost call at the retreat. Almost retreating, so Umusamia, not a yes, sir. And you may see 2 weeks now. I said dollar no cry, and I said city no cry. Then you say, the woman said city no more than this year. I am very bad. Yeah, at the end of yesterday, the calculation let's see they are depreciated by 50%. Well, bra, last year, entire last year, depreciation rate for city was 3.39. 3.39. Yeah, no 5%, 4% last year. Now, I think once in the net year depreciating over 50%, when you answer, will be better by the other culture, say, and they are so big and say, and we are about. I mean, about the name when he said, Omidana said at the beginning of the year, $1, they say this 20 pesos. At the end of September, and then now, ACDs 30 pesos. They can't interbank exchange rating. October, you remember, first people, according to him, could do this money. But Minia, and then one was said, within about 10 days, see the meeting is says, the cabinet is your mom, Shian. Yet a idea or more quacker, because any maybe yes, I'm a city said that I think it is from 2007 down. Every year, the Ghana government see the problem. Every time, the area, you bomb, Yakodisika, Abigu Bank of Ghana, and Futu. I feel, and now, we are seeing now, among economies and some. Any downgrading as you ain't. Yeah, now when you say the quite a man said just so, according to Abosian. And I'm saying, you know, Bank of Ghana's dollar cacao or the Boama, your day as well as cinema. Dollar and yes. And unti and a or Silbocasiaba name, where the last 2 weeks now a bull so cry. The notice said, normal scheme of things, you know. So that's the necessary, no way a servo so. The no one among the cabinet didn't get to. Now the expectations that not very free on the sex. Sharp decline at the coffin. Saint Denis and TSA, a Bank of Ghana, or Tuana Mobia, or person, who now more reasons buy and conquer loan and $5 needing ma, and I won't have the baby master at first no winano. Let's say, I couldn't have a Bank of Ghana, when the day I just said, or the dollar, and ma, I buy to Trianica, or the dollar ma, importers, I won't confirm near my critical, send me maybe why a day, you'll be a hospital near my. And it deserve fun. We are there. The Bank of Ghana and short BDC is not like a crime woman and dollars. Meaning I had your harbor. Meaning I can Viano or no bank Viana should be up. In the Omutuana Mobi and Uncommon per dollars. The Sana Mono, a can be and a man about 10 days running. See the little says, it you are a shibuma per se. And now cabinet. Putamudio Mukodi, any Bank of Ghana, so I'm on the banks, CEOs of all the big banks here. I mean, black marketer, almost so Anamuntu, we are Buamati, and Ebosono, Omotu, Esa, Ewan. So now, Oemwa, a bear 3 days near cabinet to call the retreat to buy a Bank of Ghana governor, and also chance, yes, also 2 and a mono. The who said, dollar and Asha, see her. Na ho de no kofo e wo si de ne fam okay the mechanism sa cabinet na mo motu ene sa na ma we nyina no de betimi aye kakra ne se betimi ambo ama dia si de no asa koneti akodiri be 12 cities and I 11 cities and wa anzana we ne ye ba ya buy na se ye be go back to 6 cities na ne at the beginning of the year another 5 cities 85%. So the last year ejina no and what the meaning about a better because a near ma is in Sabi, and yet you knew one more didn't know a candy or Ghana CC. I yet
dog.
For you be fresh then. A global market. I say any Eurobond a year, $1 near the Bank of Ghana. And none of the Asubi Syria Banti, Tanya Mano, Opam finance minister. So the whole year, the rest of the year, all the baby meet where they intimate and solve it.
Na yet say Nnawotwi Yi mo mfa say nane nansan ya wodano. The former president John Dramani Mahama ade ensusue bi ohun ne sese abanu de ye adwuma ebeboa amasika semna jane naso. Na yesha se by now ebia wa hohunu bi waboso ese anka ebeya Central Bank eni sika wo mo etwa ede ba no se no ya na empempi no eno na ma enuma boye de inflation e hwiri kosoro no entisenke ho no obetwe ne ho de afirma anka beboa eno achi nso no besia ahodo ya ban yi agie ya bekomo no eho ensi ho ne eye eho ebre no ne ho hyehyeye no ebro so no anka obetumi aye ho adwuma bibi no mate so a eno so ebeboa yie pa osi projects ahodo bi a ekoso a those projects no yebeka se ehia ni manimu ya no eno so no se obetumi agai such projects a ebeboa wabobo bi so a meyi ede amawo aban ne dodo wo mo ehesen kebeya aban no enti the size of government de so na emra from issues no raise any bebre no eka won nyina eye suggestions a wo de emasen ka aban na adopt a ebeboa minima ne small de to dwa any 11-point solutions a or the buy no wo sha ne adoption no ebetumi asakra ni mam asat now
Menya ba me no me da wase na maminka zasin we senka ebetumi anka nanka janka me pese meka de ma no beka ze mahama sebe asema waka ebi de no amofide ba ko asempa efre me e ma na me keka pese mahama asema o kan me ne ya adwen o ya bi bebrebe so me no enya adwen na akoyese aye politics woman bra ya dwi no nanka me pese bra ya se de politics because in some abano said on our call kind on one so kan ho ne bra so no Eurobond oje pa Eurobond na Adom TV bra so ya ji they what the lowest interest rate na over 10% and coupon rate Nansaya yura kuntunkunku amforiata baye. Eurobond ayadi. The highest no ya 9%. The highest was 8.something%. Yeah, so we can say Jebosia with higher exorbitant and reason. That is we share Yabakosema na akoye afodi. Nini yansembe bebe wa odi ga na mene no kwara ni me ani die kwaso na mene ni nyaadwen na me tire ma adwene ma yewura ba ko eze efre no kwakubu ahin. O se usiami a obebo maso. Nini a ensama ye ni yesua no wo am university ono. Eno na ye bi ye adwuma. Na me you are the man, Mamma. Why are they as a former president? Ghana for your own chili, said that we can't say and come with you. I think once it did say over 50%. It's the only channel we have by Debbie. We go back to Bobacas and we hear the Ghana. That's the only watch. Now, a question the first one, yet that's all the problem. Many answer my entirety, then cut it at info. Okan is Anna, Sana Chile. And then I may make children say, you are the man, Mamma, Kazi and Katim. This is over that you were primary school, ever there, at LA, at Catholic, at primary. Yet today, young Katim import. Now you add the value to so from the man come with you. Okay, the Ghana say, or buy an import, no measures then, or yeah, or the Katim. E wo mu se e bia wa anya no nche se ontimi enke but abawe so ba na de na wa ya wo de ka tin na no na me ka se abawe ya wo ti fi na na mu nto bia wo tu ye fa import ya wo de planting for food and jobs ni ade ba amene agricultural sector no ne modemo abon ye na be ko sem ye hu se ya chepa for the past almost 30 years ye hu se agricultural sector etinya ya ade pass de na ye. Yeah, these are facts. The figures are there. Yeah, and then when I'm crying out, baby, these are all facts. Now, manufacturing sector, 1D, 1F, and then a year, Juma, Sabe, our challenges, and I said, you see here, no, it's diminished and pension. Otherwise, that is the way to go. Yeah, and then factories, almost every region, via the and Empata bebrebe mu e wo Ghana no be kono 1D1F no ya sha ase a e ya adwuma kakra but the America say asem asie no significantly no eye global market ni ne manema ne mass aba na ama your vulnerability ni you are always vulnerable as a country ya United States and chibi difference enema no say nantibinu na nantibinu nzo be huna eni ne ye denden ase no chaba eno no ye vulnerabilities no over the years no so the kwame commercial ase a osisi factories no abaye to aso no omo ntimi amomo modene anto asa ansem ze nko mutimi bo omo e bo omo modene so the ne ye hu 1D 1F eni osisi factories be biri ba anka ne ya sabiri no anka ehun mpohia ma say ye disika 1.2 billion ne dia dollars ne dia kram waba bia ebi yes my friend toothpick the ko China the dollars me akofa aba enema ayedie nyina de yedi yes do na ikofa free amanone enam say nti ama economy no acquire consumption based economy
okay
it mean critical ye kire ye nkola na de a 15 years no nam na onya adwuma nye ana ye tiwa de ya aban bia de wo ye ya betinya challenge aban bia so no say Tambia no sidi no ekwa hunyama no makwa manzanja so no mudika no makwa bobosia no mudi ababe abesa kiremu obia said that anything positive the positive thing to arrest the value the city
okay
I mean permanently no and they said ube increasing local production ube producing more of what you consume yeah no so about food agricultural sector and manufacturing what you want the figures are clear and no na America ya yero akwakubu anyi se osiana nkobabo maso sabe DS mi top to a real and on the top to man and na ba ne to man enti no question na Americans na me tell you radom the man mama ubetu ni for obetu nanka pa ba na me say onye specific say baby to say yes man this can 1.2 billion dollars and the crack emo and she say be na o de ma buy adwene be na o de ma ba say e be da mo ka de ma ka say yenyaza ye be fere Ghana phone express BT university lecturers over the agricultural department almost crop session and KNUST fantastic yen kasa anko fu nyina mo any importance of rice any other stakeholders na omonwene no any farmers of rice farming omunfa timetable mre say in the next 3 years 4 years you bet me produce enough rice to meet the local demand na yenya and emokra poultry egu nansia under 1D1 akokodako I grew up in Kumasi akokodako na ye adwuma kese egu kura under 1D1 I'm sorry amana akokodako asaso ye gyina na so akokodako nko poultry farm yetimi nya mako be 50 e country ha enkosua ye krefi amanone enkukofuna yawo won mpane a eba ye wi ni nya cancer ni nyina atubetwa enti we ye niema eyese ye fan 1.1 point na ye nko cancer eyoforia tanti ena ye kokofa an enkukofunu ba eyoforia tanti na minu aba na o kase Ghana every day yetimi tu fango ankura makoma 173,000 yes azetu oil Ghana September 2010 to date the year you are near the asisa ankura fango no near the agu cheap near the kwama no ne akoti near we are na BDCs edisika $400 million.
Okay.
Yeah, edi akọ amanoni akọ kira petrol edi abama ya ba be use minia it is a thing no say ya one man you blame only one person say nada ya permission you are bibia be tase de minia panyi amegu abenka ye no we finance minister corner because of say enye onu nti the problems no ban
okay
we connect nothing is going to change nothing this said the structure no the economy no there was structural problems
Dr. Donfe
but to my family see 1 second. I've always maintained that it's not just because we are doing something so wrong, but because we have refused to do right thing for many years. And only say you be promote to agricultural growth, not agricultural, and the agricultural side, it is not working well. Ya infan ya mangu kwem na ya nyire wona crop production na eya ade no ya mo kutupa na manufacturing yensi factories bebrebe na ema Ghana for ankwenya wode en fan ya manko amanone nkotone no mu $4 mra na ona anka tell nko bezesa cities akọ dollars akọ kran ma no o mu nto na ya na nka ebeto mbebi no ye sika sam ebegina enti enko ba say ye ba be $10 some cities say ya anye some measures no ancorrect the wrong structural ye kwa fa ho aba ma ho aba
okay but Dr. Donfe baby and me pesa me de e fa na ye wie nkita hodie no eye IMF nkita hodie a ye kese ekoso ye rekwa me pia ni mo bia nim se oye economist e ba no Ghana han mo no so abedi ne dwuma awie o chese nkita hodie ekoso no enko yie esan se de IMF ehwe se aban yi ebegie tum na nkita hodie ato aso no entisa ebi krampo chese ase achedodo esan se the finance minister no oni opepa no ese obekosa obeto sa line no ama negotiations na wie because of ni se bia wadi kan yakama Ghana 40% no onfo so ye IMF edwumadie bia from where you sit and the previous IMF ayakoni negotiations ni sika aba no process we ache na acha obi de sobo ebebo the finance minister no ana
I mean aba quickly finance minister Gina Tua Utu said them call an IMF as an individual economist there be idea and so can there be a minimum revenue it can be that and Sagrana era Ken Obabe finance minister if you can read this watch pa the inter because of 2015 April they call me you did that say ehun hia ni ade ama ehun hia say there be a bit na mo akọ say say and you know mo nti say aye say ye bia yakosa 17 time na wo ya tem bia ye beko komaso ye bia no enema chance ye etoto din eyi na school headmaster wo dia ba gina wo so say omu kope na enema say that is across the an IMF no otimi ma wo face wo hia face but how to face the ontimi nye de enchirew tibi de na makasanka ebe ya ahwenye an ba say na Ghana for enya politics sab an enya abotre ene enya yebetimi atoto yani ebe ensa wura na yenya homegrown solutions to our problems are much more sustainable. Otherwise, then be our problem. Now I call no be aba no abeka. You say nyema because sometimes omiye no. Ya nyema a promote to your local production.
Okay.
Agricultural growth. Any factories, some I say, Oma has 17 times. Only your problem say there be our dependence on the foreign markets, you know. And no nama there be your balance of payment problem. Because the balance of payment problem, say you bring dollars, you be a boy humbra. Okay. That problem. And IMF so okọ ma be ma on constructing road ma omo. Adia okọ ma yes a balance of payment and challenges. So we need dollars. Now no balance is aboa ma kwaya ubetimi aye balance of payment. And no hu dwuma nkwa na the IMF at 80. Na sorry. Dollars na ye. Dollars na ye. The enti na ema ye. The enti ma ye ni say ye bia ni die be be share be da be nom eye the enkofu bi ye. Okay.
Dr. Donfe, wadaroma me pese ye hwese negotiations a wahase no at this point no a delay and answer to say na ye wie ye nkomo na breko wadaroma.
Yeah, no, the 1 second. Mamin can say at IMF and the money a balance of payment and here. When you say I am a person, a bad boy, I might maybe we may bit me a 2. Now balance of payment and challenges me. Young come
into a delay.
Not enter yeah, a man no problem. Meaning, Mamin can say in delay. At IMF that and your cover, yeah, na minimum of 6 months and sana. Omo no nche and omo di akọ ayeye at the beginning no omo di kaba ha no I mean the order ewiase nyina the order and IMF no or the overcan say economy no your problems no eye enema esi amanone na yesu any shock absorbers no internally no ye so vulnerable and amana kan sa into much Ghana say
okay
people hu aba abontene no na nya very positive. The mean here, the last way, Omukoshia, Abiana, European, any Bibia meaning, but maybe baby, I began the meaning, say, not a smooth. Now, Ghana, it will be in our own interest now because of the Bank of Ghana, more results, no, Ediplity and I'm a rare, Omu, Efakweni, and Sabisu, Enyesicano, and a company in the bar,
Matado.
Did say, Antino, Yehiano, and Nimuntan. Say omo beba no mo be Bank of Ghana dollars kakra ama ye dia boy amesi di legina ye hia pa
Dr. Donfe
ya make say the Europe ya nimu kana no kra dia ne next abamufo a omu di ensem kana nimu say ye sra wo ma omo softy omo sans kakra let's be dollar ne be bank how you na atsc di
yeah that's it
because say me nko atiyobon anya sa ye bebe achiri no enye an asempapani
yeah that's it bra wanya dia man Dr. Joy Donfe and I was in a cano or ye economist na ni chemu and ne dear no, but be a drino. Mammy trapping home emra na yemra institutes na menikofia me and shassie, ye shasa in my Wilson Junior, or no so ebe journey na enkita udieno ye de every ye basisia.
Let us consciously eat more of our local foods like yam, local grains like maize, rice, our local rice, cassava, beans, gobe. Those of you of the gobe eaters, the Gobe Eaters Association. You are doing very well for Ghana because you are saving Ghana very important critical foreign exchange. Let us
members of the majority caucus here in Parliament will not participate in any business of government by or for the president by any other minister. We hope that those of us on the backbench and members of the majority caucus will abide by this prayer. We are saying that if our request is not responded to positively, we will not be present for the budget hearing, neither we will participate in the debate. Thank you very much.
To indicate to you a little where we've got to in the negotiations we're having with the fund, what it portends for the future of economic policy in our country, and then hopefully to have the opportunity to get your particular buy-in, because we are talking and hopefully concluding soon these important negotiations, which are going to have, and you know as well as I do, an important impact on the way forward for the Ghanaian economy in the months and immediate years ahead. So it's basically a familiarization program, and then also to hear from you what you think would be significant.
Association of Ghana Industries ano Humphrey Dake editu jase wonum de waye krado se wonum ebeto ato adwene se beyi a man sika sembe sen agina ne nan so bio.
And it's our intention, and we recognize your relentless effort to steer our economy to the pride of place and the desire to transform our economy to the best of your ability. We pledge our support that together we shall resolve the intended difficulties as we so find them. We are grateful. Thank you.
Mami mawakwaba Emra Adom TV so ena asempa 94.7 kasafidie so anopai. Nnawotwi Yi ena oguso a wo hye na wotie no. Ye live e wo Facebook obetumi ajoin yen na wo do comment ato hono Woko DSTV a channel 280 Adom TV e wo na Go TV channel 178. Yemra fi ha na yenin komo. Medikan ada Kofi Ameya wadi akyerɛw Director of External Affairs said ma NPP na Emmanuel Wilson Jr. Ono so Chief Crusader edema Crusaders Against Corruption. Oma ye krado ewa ha ema Martin. Nyame adom na so
Nyame adom ho aye me fe no people.
Medase pa. Medase. Na next time so ya na wabantem why?
Of course. Me apologize. Say for whatever reason, me name the buyer. Me assume say program is starting 9 o'clock instead of 8. Inti enye buapayo, but for whatever reason, I have no excuse. It's Mufancheme.
Basi flyer no sakan de.
Me sakan. I know na make us me name the buyer.
But
me hu no 8 to 9 na me hu no 8 o'clock. Mufancheme.
Mufancheme. Me da say. Mame chase Kofi Ameya Kofi. Emraso be fie. Over 80 NPP MPs. Sorry ye say oswafo bi wo hono ma. Ghana for kan ho asema, opposition kan ho asema, expert kan omampani entie. Any sadio mankasa de obejim. They told omampani say ompamo the finance minister and the finance the over president or in charge of finance Charles Adubuahin as a party man now tell asem dey kan who receiving the saying
me nya baby o ma me ndawase na me nchi ahwefo. In fact, I'm not just a party man. I'm an executive of the party, director at that level. I was secretariat. See, your chairman, the Nanudi some Betuja say, the buyer no party ma enka omakumantomo yem na adwebrombra, whilst the party engages the parliamentary caucus and then government as well too. So the be kwan bi so na yasisi nyoma. Emra ye wom no answer na maminda mpanifo a omudi kan kasa maminda omasiye pa isen say omukasa no ama mimi Kofi Ameya akra no makoma atome yem kakra isen say ya utie de ekokoso na wo hwe de ekokoso na edrume bia na anohye. But if you have independent minded people say bi omo suade akonkan na say omo chechin sem bi say mo, it's not because it inures to my benefit, but as a Ghanaian say me kind no me ana me to me fango me ana me twa me nsuo ka me kaniaka na say enyoma me ana me to me duane di na minya obi a sebi oya outside the political ecosystem na otimi emma me saa hope yi a ene nchechemu ya eya na eboa yie pa ntima me ndo omase na yenkoso yembo ye ho modern bia se bia ye wom sisi a na de amanyosem besi nchen na ya face the issues as they are and find amicable solutions as we move forward as a people. That notwithstanding, ye parliamentarians no be na omo science and for me, this is democracy. Kabi mamin kabi na dudu amembu na say ye chere ya dwene. Ne fair ye no say ne tie. Say obenya ye nipa dom omo amanyoko bi mu na sa amanyoko no wa ba mu. Na ebia obi wo sa aban ni mu na omo ne nya adwene na omo ni aba abontin we nya kokua mu nkomompo. Say kokua mu ni timi hye didi nkomo near there because over a steering committee, National Executive Committee, and Councillor, the Parliament has a representative on that. So, that's the beauty of democracy. So through the executive, so they also can. But it is not entirely unprecedented. Any idea you will be that say a political party calling for the head of the finance minister. It be that. But the manner and the magnitude, I see now and a bit different. As I said, 2015, the NDC was calling for the head of the finance minister, they were calling for him to be sacked. Because now, in fact, Uti Openi Alotejo here in Adom FM was calling for the head of the finance minister. And again, multimedia here, Joy News. I recall, me Kaipa Shebi, Nunyam for Mahama Yariga. Was saying finance minister on bomb. And in fact, the former president, Oshia Barclays Bank, maybe I think patience. No, I think no Agbionu. No, my fan for some head of Barclays Bank. Right there, the president admitted say he just a guniche on Pamo finance minister. He cannot do that because Odrin said homegrown policies no airboa. So it's like a deja vu. I see a come back to the situation.
No sadia say on several occasions in Abeka say obeti say be a MPB akan be against one party. But looking at in Nipa best 95 all MPP MPs
but I just admitted
coming together.
But I just admitted
but comparing those
no. I just admitted say the magnitude and they are unprecedented like a being said and see that. But the call to sack the finance minister within the same caucus, the same party, that's what I'm saying. But you see, the reality is that I don't penny for me, I am of the view say issues no. Is it based on competence or is based on politics? Yeah, man, yourself. And now I see say papa no obetimi aye adwuma no in the midst of our challenges. These are the fundamental issues that we need to look at as a people. Say you photo some for for a year kenoforiata. Yes, so uncle because on born home modern. And I am say as human beings, and it's not just Ghana for uncle. Sebi when you hear you don't want to blame somebody. Empo ya mania ni amamre mu no obi efiri mu a ya pese education obi say ono na man pa kroni firi mu. So it's natural say looking at the circumstances in which we find ourselves. Share the cascading effects of the global pandemic. Any Russia-Ukraine war, any amochire the other 2 years war, and oko jom kota the other dano bebane no mabo. O people saw them from Sonny Bobby, and the immediate person you can look at. For some for or she is
it is a worker say is it competence and as a political no. Wo share hina omujina.
Why mujina?
Oma omo call for the head na hina omujina.
They haven't indicated. Unfortunately for me, they didn't indicate say out of competence or politics. No, they haven't indicated. And from they're only calling for his head.
No, from the Meso Makin Kakra, Mary fell to Davis Opoku in Price OPK. Or say or no Kasa, the finance minister, and maybe sir, economist no. As one from day one, no, now say he didn't buy into the decisions some IMF. On several occasions, now thank you to the buy me patcho me bawo. And no much so obia or no e dey can chese or no de ohun ni se no the solution no now say sani panana enkonko di animo enkotu sa na mo no na say to some extent no obedra gini feet and no mo bobo so IMF nsensem yi the delay ye ra MP animo di ode be ya wo kan nyina yi wo say as the finance minister ono na e delay the process.
That's not true. First of all many OPK nya adwen It's say even in our normal lives, sometimes ultimately see na be say adie we mempe, but circumstances within the time no, a bit me am was someone. Okay. And secondly, the leader of government is not the finance minister. The actual Obama say be on your money nim, no your money free and you did 2 million shillings. It's not the finance minister. It's the president. The finance minister is the appointee of the president. So the president decides what he wants, not the finance minister. So the finance minister now doing say IMF na MY anasinya de hu hia. Na president na ye di 2 million shillings. Na also boy your hu ban ehwe say obe ye free ya hu say ye nkwa. Why do we come back to the finance minister? At the end of the day, and not in the directions, no. But ono na lead. It doesn't matter. He doesn't give the directives. And the president in the catch will say me pay A, me pay B, me pay C. So go and discuss that. And go and make sure that the panel is implemented. So the finance minister, yes, has shown disagreement. Why? In any case, when it comes to IMF, I don't see why or disagree at some point, and now we are forced to go to IMF. No, yeah, I know airborne. I personally don't believe in the IMF. I have argued with the NDC, say among the reasons why Ghanaians rejected them is for the fact that Omoko IMF were a bailout. Okay. I've never liked the IMF. Okay, so if today for some reason you bear me penny binas or see a IMF, also for that matter, and you know, no, I have the right to disagree with a lot of things. Okay. Policies be or internally, no. Omoko cabinet and BBC. That's why your co-cabinet. 2 minutes in the doors. Even in cabinet, they disagree. Just that it's not public. So it shouldn't be the case. Say, are you sacking him out of incompetence, or you are sacking him just to satisfy the whims of the people, which is political? And for me, the MPs really didn't demonstrate which of the two na yemfa, or either both of them na yemfa. Because if you look at the competence arguments now, this is a manner now in Ghana, even under IMF, the MPP was able to implement its major social interventions, including free SHS, 1 district, 1 factory, 1 village, 1 dam, planting for food and job. We were under IMF program. And the same person was the finance minister. When this same finance minister, I recall, I was Albany, New York. I went to give a speech. And in that speech, when I was preparing, I read somewhere in Bloomberg, say West Africa, Ebe Peja, Ghana is the beacon. And he was the finance minister at that time. And I recall around the same time when I was preparing for my notes, it was stated clearly, say, Ghana, the economy is one of the fastest growing economy in the world. In fact, CNN reported it. He was the finance minister. And not just in Ghana, just acknowledged by Mpenifor Mbekasa, not just in Ghana, the world all over, globally. For that matter, what's he Mpamo Papano, based on what? His competence. Okay. His competence in there for me, he has demonstrated. While demonstrating, if it's for politics, just to satisfy a Ghana for B and a Ghana for say, okay, you believe that he's the one to be blamed. And if the argument that needs to be made, but clearly for me, the 85 MPs did not make a case as to whether out of incompetence or politics in inferior.
May I say, Ima, on the same topic here too.
Maminchia, I have 418 for Nina. Nadia Dika, Mami establishes one problem in this country. And the tolerance level when it comes to mediocrity. As a nation, your tolerance level for mediocrity seems to be so alarming that sometimes we, instead of looking at the excellence, we only celebrate anything as long as it is one step ahead of the worst situation. And over the past period, especially in this country, the best approach we always give it to ourselves and say, oh, now say my big crown, me move one step compared to the previous government. Into every time your standard is the worst, instead of our standard being the best. And that is an alarming thing. The second thing, and it's also in line with your tolerance for mediocrity, is the fact that there's a lot of wastages in the system. Obia seems to be okay with it. And I know me some 2 minutes calculation be. Okay. Now you share how as a nation you waste resources in this country. When the president, your president OTC, Nano Otukwan Kumase, Ashanti region. Now, Okoye, no, I'm not going to be here to talk about the number of convoy that Edini Chikoye. Indeed, Oshe video now, I was able to count about 41 V8 Odimuvuye. But that is not even the alarming part. When we say President Eko Otek FM, or T studio honomono, not Otene presidential chair. Now, and that wasn't just the first time. It has become so consistent in this country. Say, anytime the president A2 Kwan within Ghana, he travels with his chair. If you look at the presidential detail, say 2 convoy or 3 or so 4, anytime a president A2 Kwan within Ghana, biano, one of the V8 or use, that V8 is just positioned to carry Nakonja.
What? Really?
Now, Akonja or Osiano, if you look at the cost involved, and I have done a basic calculation to say, look, if the president should even travel 50 times the whole year in Ghana, now Omuvu average, say it is not, the figure is more than that, but averagely, we use V8 call an average of 200 kilometers. You use, we didn't find 1,000 Ghana cedis on fuel.
Just boss. No, I'm not the host, but if that's how the program will go, then I'm sorry. I'll be forced to respond to it.
Why? If you want to respond, who has told you?
I don't think I was called here to have this discussion. Topics near demand.
It is not for you to talk about how I should present my topic.
Come on. But that's not the topics I was giving.
So, as I'm saying, if you look at the cost involved, the president travels, 200 kilometers 50 times in a year, right? That's the OUSU average of 1,000 Ghana cedis just on fuel kicker. The carrying of Nakonja, we are using 10 million Ghana cedis on that. We are using 10 million cedis on that. Are you getting it? Now, Ubi Samson, what is the fact for what? It is an example of the wastages that we have in the system. Now, Crusaders Against Corruption must send the proposals as to how best we can build the economy. Must send them our producers. I'm sure very soon they'll put it on the screen for us to go through it, to see how I say cut it down on wastages and the rest. We can build a strong economy. The bottom line is, in this current economy, the economy is sinking. It's a fact. Now, a group of members of parliament, this time from the majority, say the finance minister should resign, right? Sometimes what we fail to realize, they say that ministry is not just finance ministry. It is 2 duties attached, brought together: finance minister or ministry and economic planning. That ministry is supposed to plan for the economy. That is one part of it. Now say me employee. Now me can say plan for my economy. Planning means moving into the future. Plan for the economy. Now, from all indication, plans are making it is not helping the economy to go on. It is a typical example of what we call incompetence. Are you getting it? Now, what is alarming again is that ministry, we have one Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Ken. I think he has about 2 or 3 deputies. 2 deputies. That is there. We have a minister in charge of finance at the presidency. In other words, we have 4 individuals with our taxes to ensure that the economy is stabilized and it stands strong. And now, Kasi, first and foremost, if you look at our cedi to dollar, the average business person, the average person cannot even plan beyond 1 week. Because our cedi, our currency is not stabilized. And if the currency is not stabilized, who doesn't know that it means that some fundamental things are wrong? And the bus will stop at the doorsteps of the individual and our ministry indicated said they should plan for it. Today, as we speak, which serious country? Look at all the indicators. Just yesterday also, I was reading from one international economic platform. I want to say one of the worst currencies in this world, the cedi currency. Who doesn't know, say, the cedi, which is actually the vehicle for your transactions and everything in this country, as far as we are concerned, no? The cedi has become one of the worst currencies in the world. Today, as we speak, which country, and the debt to GDP will be over 80%? Which country does this? Near the debt to GDP, what it means, they say, you find say you 10 cedis. every year, every month. 10 cedis are you to Alcano. A minimum of 80% of that 10 cedis, which is about 8 cedis or so, goes into debt servicing. Who does that? Where is the planning that we are supposed to have and enjoy in this country? Who does that? Today, as we speak, if indeed we are into plan and our ministry is supposed to do the planning, and they are planning very well, look at some of the policies that they have implemented. Where has it gotten us to? A typical example is just some few months ago, ministry, say we should have what we call e-levy. You know the position of Crusaders on e-levy because we've discussed it even here before. You can say this is not the best way for us to go. Yes, or some few years, a year or two on. Today, as we speak, all of them, including the ministry, is saying that aside the e-levy, we still need to go to IMF. What does it mean? Even though the plan said the e-levy...
So that is because the projection for e-levy, no?
Fantastic.
Because Ghanaians were not paying.
Fantastic. So that is the projection. That is planning. It means that they failed in their planning.
It is projecting and
where all indications came. The reason why are we, Crusaders Against Corruption, we were against it was that we said the projection is not realistic. And somewhere, and it's not just us. There were so many civil society organizations, so many institutions and all that. Even professors, research coming from institutions like University of Ghana and Co. They all came out and said, look, this projection is not realistic. How come all of us could say this, and yet 4 ministers, 4 individuals are you with our taxes to plan for the economy? They failed to see it. Even when we were questioning and telling them, they failed to see it. And I mean, say we are going to IMF. One reason for bringing in the e-levy was that what? We won't go to IMF. And yet we said even before the implementation, it's a failed plan. So from all indication, and you're very, very, very clear, said that ministry has failed us. In terms of incompetence, the ministry has failed us. And I have heard people make arguments, say, oh, under the first 4 years of this government, and now first 3 years or whatever of this government, the government, there is the same minister who did very well and all that. Look, we are talking about progressive. We are not relying on past glories. Say, Endra, I was able to do ABCD. Now say, and the environment is different. Now the environment demands something else. It's just like what I have been hearing. Say, oh, now COVID, ABIM and all that. So yes, if we are in dying times now, it doesn't necessarily mean say the one who was able to take us through when we were not having dying challenges, no, will be the same person to take us through now. Every situation and the kind of leader you need at this time, from all indication, just tell me, unless people who don't feel the situation. And of course, individuals say, well, Bemu and the rest. Some may say, well, but the reality is that, look, just yesterday, today as we speak, what is the minimum wage? Ghana's minimum wage. It's 13.26. Just about a week ago, $1 was higher than the Ghana's minimum wage. You think this is funny? Workers, how do they survive? Today as we speak, just yesterday, I was having an interaction with a lady. Okachem said the salary is 500 Ghana cedis. Mibisa ni baby a ote, also ote achimota, and obejuma ote sano. Mibisa said the transport and him or spending in a day. I say because of increment into each day or spending 22 cedis.
Okay.
And I did a calculation with her. She didn't even realize it. Just do a calculation of 22 cedis each day and subtract it from someone's salary of 500. How does the person survive? And yet every day, and then oko shop and the next moment, and people who are supposed to manage and stabilize the economy, they are sitting down and things are going this way. And then we are here to talk about it. Now, if you want us to go through some proposals that Crusaders Against Corruption has done, then we'll talk about it. But the truth of the matter is that, look, the MPs are almost calling for the finance minister to go. For me, I'm not even going to dwell on whether they are MPP MPs or they are NDC MPs or what. The fact of the matter is that I am a Ghanaian. We are Ghanaians. From all indications, the finance ministry and economic planning department of this government has woefully failed this economy. Okay. It is not for anyone to call, say, they should resign. If the president indeed is sensitive to the plight and he knows exactly what is happening in the economy, sometimes I'm tempted to believe that the president doesn't know the reality. But if he really knows the reality, and you'll be in a back and say, he's the coach.
What's Kofi?
Abna.
Me say be I'll be responded to.
Of course.
Bobo Subame.
And I saw me respond me when I'm flowing.
Oh, but I was saying me
no, but yeah, you don't come in. When you talk,
why you think I'm like you? I'm a gentleman. When anyone talks, I don't talk. That's why when we're talking, when I was talking, I told you say don't talk.
Right now, you are not being a gentleman.
No, but why do you invite me and say, oh, Kasa, when I haven't even said anything?
I never mentioned I was talking to her.
When she said she's the host, you said me, and I'll carry no Refi.
Kofi meeting, but
Kasa says you're Refi as my kind.
Where?
Yeah, maybe. So don't do that.
So Abina, first of all, you see, in situations like this, populist talking, normal, common. They said and how can you operate an economy with over 80% GDP, blah, blah, blah. Really, even Japan, almost there to GDP is 234%. Okay? You look at Greece, 181. Sometimes, it's not just about the percentages, okay, and the nominals. You look at what the money is being used for. In any case, 70% of the drawdown, BCI Koboy, 70% was one that was contracted by the former administration. You have to look at whether BCI Koboy and the year Juma for which we went to take the loan for. These are the issues we have to look at. Now, another issue we can look at and say whether investment yield the results. But when you make this populist approach and all of that, but in any event, look, nobody is saying we are in good times. Yes, so I can say politicians be a bit more, I can say no more, but in actual sense, no more near the mom. But they are Ghanaians in this country, in the midst of all our challenges, they are doing fantastically well. So what are you talking about? So does it mean that every Ghanaian is going through hardship? And I say, there are people who are still doing well. We admit clearly that we are in bad times. And I'm saying that it is not wrong for anybody to blame the finance minister. And yet, I didn't want why be say, Obibeka's finance minister and I maintain that position because in these times, things are difficult to the extent that within 10 days, dollar can jump from 11 cedis to 15 cedis. Of course, the person to blame is the finance minister because he's in charge of our finances. But I'm saying that if we are making the argument, is it because he's grossly incompetent and he cannot manage the situation? And now I say we are in a particular as a genius factor, sir, and you're extremely difficult to manage. And when you listen to the experts, in fact, when you listen to the former president, he admits clearly, say, especially in Africa, because of COVID and Russia-Ukraine war, but when he comes back home, he tells a different story. So you cannot run away. Listen, let's get it clear that things are difficult. People must be responsible for them. But we cannot run away from the cascading effect of the global pandemic. Yet because time of COVID, we lost revenue to about 12 billion Ghana cedis. The informal sector, to say for example, we call about the beach. For almost a year, you're closing it down. Do you know how it affected the economy? Even though it might not be recorded. The whole entire tourism sector, you're closing, you're shutting it down. That means the hotels in near Juma, your friend is saying, restaurants, no more near Juma, sir, clubs near the idea, they were not working. Do you know how it affected the economy? So I am saying that.
And no, Bebeka said that is why leadership over no more. It's a situation, worse, measures, and ye debe go so, and measures never so, not the implementation enforcement na ye Juma. Ye kase ya the cabinet retreat anyambo a omapani ene Ghana for beka say e measures no de ba e di ne sequence say these measures are ebebe no yan taking no ahead knowing the cascading effect as you stated no as a COVID ne Ukraine war ne ade na ebenya ewo economy no so why are we taking it now
Obatampa care before what is that
me bacho mateda
what is it about What is Obatampa care?
Me too.
No, what is Obatampa care?
So it is a finance ministry at the buyer.
What was the reason why? Exactly.
But
so you don't tell me say COVID buyer no and now you COVID after COVID no. We didn't propose anything.
And
we didn't put any plan into
effective?
Thank you. So don't make the suggestions. Don't ask the question as though
even the measures are me Kofi. The measures are make one sem. Enye measure say wo dey support adwadifoɔ but me dey say Sibia ye dey Mrs. Ba importation ye be ni say ni ade no. That is where I am coming from.
Abna.
Kofi Mitio.
Yeah, sentence no ni me program no yeah me check sir. Wo ma me flow.
Mitio.
First of all, in Penifo, I was IMF 17 times in one.
Yes.
So are you telling me government upon government doesn't have a plan for this country? You always have a plan for this country. But sometimes it doesn't work because the nature of your economy needs systematic change all the time. And this say the policies are banned say I'm buying. Yeah, the another one buy, for example, e-levy. I don't know if he was part of it because I've never followed his crusade before. But the opposition stood their ground and said, and yes, Ghana for e-levy. Look at what happened because of e-levy. And the finance minister says, to me implement e-levy to its fullest. Probably we couldn't have gone to IMF. Probably we wouldn't have been in this situation. But yet the same people who were saying, no, Ghanaians don't pay for e-levy. E-levy, chrono, ye scale from bottom are the very people who are saying, what they adding e-levy by now at the same time, what's the requirement? So clearly, when we ask the question or we make the point, say, after COVID, you policy beyond, you direction beyond, I don't think it's fair for us to say this. But again, moving forward, and I'm making the point that the situation in which we find ourselves now, it's easy for us to blame even the president. Why? Aren't people hooting at the president? I'm not born to because they feel like, look at the social media platforms. So it is not out of place for people to be frustrated. It is not out of place for people to blame the president or the finance minister. But I'm here, sitting here to assure you, me catch the webinar, me catch me in your time, me catch Ghana for me in more studio. I said things will turn around.
When?
As soon as practicable. As soon as practicable. And I'll tell you why things will turn around. Remember, just 1 minute.
It's you.
The situation we find ourselves in, is because of the short supply of dollar in the system. Okay? Because majority of our consumables, and your ma so we share about not less than 50% of what you're dressing free money. We depend so much on dollars. However, you printed dollars will come. And because of the sea, we are see amobia elson is can then say beko man saying jaso, sika so akobo business. And we only get enough dollars when we go to the euro bonds and take dollars into the system. As we speak currently, almost a year, so dollars in the system nemu. And this one is clear. Okofa million if anything.
Emmanuel Wilson.
Okofa Wilson be finance minister. It won't change.
You're lying.
Oh, please.
Maybe your power it won't change, but no, don't mention me and say it won't change. No, but you mention me. Don't mention me. Then don't mention me.
I'm making a point.
So don't mention me in it and say it won't change. No. Don't mention me and say it won't change. I am super competent. Not you.
So clearly, not until we have enough dollars in the system. And the possible way we can have the dollars is through the program with IMF. So that at the end of the day, your risk a bit conform. Now, the financial market can have a bit faith in us to ensure that is can. Now, IMF also then we can have enough money in the system and just cushion the system. So presently, Yankomo Dieno is centered on the outcome of your negotiations with IMF. And from what I have, Yakachem is going well, and very soon, I'm rolling out. And when that is done, trust me, and I can assure you, the good people of this country, through your platform, say, and your man will start turning up.
Mate, Wilson, who say, more the robust measures to revive Ghana's economy, save Ghana now.
Yes.
It's where your mum who say, Abino, air drop here, Ebema economy, and that's a Casemna Janinaso. And it's Ube go through. But
just one or two. You see, Mr. Tika say the mediocrity level of this country, your tolerance for mediocrity is so high, and that is why anytime you want to hide behind your incompetence. Ube to me are coming out with thousands of reasons why things cannot be done. But the bottom line is, you're told about my leadership now. We don't want reasons why things cannot be done. We want reasons why things can be done. And when you come out with proposals and at the end of the day, the proposals are not working, it suggests clearly say you are super, extremely incompetent. And we shouldn't be tolerating this. We've had examples and all that. Oh, and a dollarization, because you need dollar system, look, the truth of the matter is this. Why do we even dollarize our country or our economy? Today, as we speak, one example given for which I say, Ukraine-Russia war. But as we speak, in this era, it is so clear, say, Ukraine, Russia, almost currency is becoming one of the strongest, even though they themselves are those doing the fighting. What is the difference? Difference is very simple. In Ghana here, the reason why we are dollarizing everything is because we are not even self-sufficient in anything. We are always exporting raw materials, importing finished products. Today, as we speak, before Nkrumah was Obabi Fisu, look at Nkrumah's time. On your vision said in some years to come, we may strike oil or build a oil refinery. And then you oil. And so we send the crew outside for it to be refined, for us to bring it back. What kind of country do we find ourselves in? And yet, we will get people who want to massage and say all this. It's simply because their tolerance level is super, super high. We just believe in mediocrity instead of believing in excellence. And to say you be leadership, and I'm paying for believing in excellence and not mediocrity. To the extent some do baby and after they all complain, cry, they become so arrogant and want to say cruel words to you. Okay, President. When people were complaining, he says, it is not in my domain to hold your tongue. That is arrogance.
But you say in the Juma to obey. Yeah, but say you were Juma, now be. For to the extent that we do in Pempenso, people are complaining. It means that you have even failed. Why do you wait till that stage? Do you also think say you're right? Say the piano, nipa or not to ababeka say me threaten me born training one year meant to about 1 year. It is because that is what that is the promise. O de komana or to abamao. O kona kasi mema one district, one factory. Na me who say factory name by me region ya. Why won't I threaten you? So ubana okajan say mema metal electricity so. You can't say dollar cedi. It will be a thing of the past. Was it not the same president and not all catching grovers? I'm going to abama me. Now make crime who be that say $1 can be 2 cedis. 2 cedis or 3 cedis or whatever. Today, what is the dollar? Okay. So this is the same person into Obabak no bekasa. Now when you are talking, you get others who are in Abimun and say, oh, this is populist talk and all that. That is fine. You can insult the Ghanaians and say our hardship, no, it is populist. Your hardship, you can't want them, no. And your populace, you can insult Ghana because of arrogance. You can do that. But let us look at the measures. Crusaders Against Corruption Ghana. You believe it say, look, as it stands now, we need to revive the economy. One of the things that you believe say we can do, and it said quickly, if we can close down the tax loopholes. Now you eliminate exemptions and concessions. We will be able annually. Ghana will be able to save an amount of 17.3 billion Ghana cedis. And this is not rocket science. Just go into the Auditor General's report. Are you talking about tax exemptions? Go into Auditor. I'm coming. Go into the Auditor General's report. But when you come, you're having a discussion. I will do that. But you don't cut me. I'm writing something, so I'm asking you what. But why do you think that because you are writing something, may make a sentence, maybe middle of it, I should stop and finish with you? Let me finish the sentence and I'll respond to you. You understand? I'll do that. That is it. So we are talking about tax loopholes and exemptions. Are you okay now? Thank you. Good. So you wait and let me finish my sentence. No, please, don't do that. No, don't do that. Allow me to present myself the way I want to do it. If you look at our anti-corruption institutions in this country, and Crusaders Against Corruption, we've always said the anti-corruption institutions in this country, I'm not talking about civil society organizations like ours, state institutions, anti-corruption institutions, they are always reactive instead of being proactive. Now, the very moment we move from being reactionary to being proactive, we'll be able to do that. It's the idea can say to me strengthen your anti-corruption agencies. Na corruption. Corruption. See to me strengthen as a minor more kind not from figures we will be able to save 22.5 billion Ghana cedis annually. Afibia you bet me save annually.
Dear Tosumiensa, ye eliminating overlapping government institutions, initiatives, and ministries. Ye were these quasi institutions, ministries, and they say, about Tampa one, that next moment, I say another one. Ushemu said, ni na the same conflicting things. And yet, at the end of the day, no, to say a more money na or more budgets. My typical example, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. What does it then in the Jumet is all here? Osha the act establishing Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. The basic duty is to serve as a liaison between how do you call it? Parliament and the executive. What is the duty of majority leader of any given day? He leads business of government business. Conflicting. We are in this country. His Excellency Kufuor's time, he established that ministry, Meboa. His Excellency Atamos didn't work with that ministry. His Excellency John Mahama didn't work with that ministry. Currently, we have that ministry. Example, Samaman, what I'm trying to say is, if there are instances where we can work without such ministry, it means that we don't necessarily need it. These are conflicting, and not just that one. Look at some of these youth agencies we have across this country. They are all being overlapping, and yet at the end of every year, there are in a separate budget to almost do the same thing. This is wastages in the system we need to eliminate. The third one is we should genuinely protect the public purse. We should improve public expenditure management. Look, Nyami Aduma next week, yebeye press conference. There some documents be betoja from PPA. You will see how the taxpayers' money is going to waste. Adia you bet me turn 1 cedi. Because here talk through buying tea. Ni akasi turn 10 cedis, 20 cedis. You don't do things like this with taxpayers' money. And we'll get there and we'll see the rot in the system. The other one, yen revisit the National Development Plan and the strategies. Let's initiate and commit to policies for a robust job growth in a thriving private sector. Look at what is happening in the private sector. Almost a juma say ye show mu kinana say ye support mu ina. We are rather collapsing all of them.
Like
we are collapsing all of them.
Example.
And we are here.
For example.
We are here. You understand? We are collapsing all of them. And yet we want the private sector. When Kufuor became president, one of the mantra was that private sector engine of growth. You don't need to be even 2% competent to know, say, in managing an economy, your backbone should be the private sector. What are we doing in the private sector all these past years? That is the question we should be asking ourselves. The next one.
But on that note, at least, abane credits kakra, with no one D one for the buyer, there were some private businesses ne factories partner into me group, but how
many?
How many? But at least
no.
To me now offered.
You see,
but
at the end of the day, remember my argument now is on a premise. We believe in excellence, we don't believe in mediocrity. So me ba na ukra 3 cedis. Na me beshim 3 cedis ni fi unsa. Na me ma 1 cedi. I haven't done anything. Even though I've given you 1 cedi, in reality, you have lost 3 cedis or 2 cedis. You understand? Look at the banking sector. Look at the amount of money you use to say cleaning the banking sector. We could have used that money to inject into the banking sector. It's all about planning and policies.
Develop comprehensive.
Thank you. Develop comprehensive innovation policy. Expand investment policies in key sectors such as manufacturing and infrastructure. We are here and talking about dollarization. Tell me 1 or 2 things we are self-sufficient in this country. Even tomatoes, the amount of money we use to import tomatoes from Burkina Faso, a deserted country, into our country. In Kromer's time, we were trading grass are Nintrie area. We were trading it for Nintrie with Burkina Faso. That was the extent to which the economy, we were having progressive leaders, our economy was going. Grass are keke. And now, the same Burkina Faso, you import tomatoes.
Okay.
How do we make sure that our currency is strong? Because when we are going to do that, you go with the dollar currency. The next thing, we should prioritize a more robust and interconnected innovation ecosystem between education, entrepreneurs, and tech hubs through the implementation of strong government integrated technology policies. And then the very last one, we should build effective and efficient government system. This time, government system, so the public sector employment, with focus of meritocracy and not on nepotism. I have always given this example. Meaning, from Rawlings' time, I wasn't so active with national politics. But right from Kufuor's time, His Excellency, I have been very, very active with national issues near. Look, from Kufuor, His Excellency Atamils, John Mahama, current government, there's one trend, and that's a typical example. MMDCs, MCs, DCs. Obi bia wenya akwenya a witness how they are elected. When him say a shortlist on president and shortlist on, they go for an interview. Interview and nipa 5 call for interview. Omo call for interviewer. Me say Obi bia, and this is from Kufuor's time all the way to now. Omo call interviewer. The yardstick for qualification. Say 100%. 60% we are 20% we are looking at your educational background. 20% we are looking at your plan or vision for the MC district and as a municipal. 60% we are looking at how committed you have been or you are to the current party that brought you to office. And at the end of the day, the amount opportunity and I appoint to say you should come and be our MCE DC year. 60% for which we were qualified is based on how committed you were to the party. I was able to produce T-shirts. And I'm here say during the election, I'm here say 20% goes to competence. Okay. 20% goes to your vision. How do we develop our municipals and our districts if we have this kind of yardstick for selecting MCs and DCs? And it cuts across, not just that, but it cuts across even ministries and all that. I say, hey, where do your party boy? Hey, where do I bring a party name? Only to say the man. Meritocracy has been taken out, and we are now looking at nepotism. Okay. And that is the reason why, even in our public sector, things are going so worse. To the extent, say, even now we have current executive, or currently we have what we call MPs, who are part of the government. Now coming out to say no, the pressures coming from your constituents, you're too much. You see, Monsake, the finance minister. But if you are not listening now, we want to tell you, say you should do that, and yes, sir, you're Mate, if we should commit to this, it will help us.
Kofi, I think so. What we did.
No, I think the way Marani shown is bad. First of all, you gave me 2 topics to discuss the Ken issue, then cabinet retreat. And then I come here and you've given agency or the way now.
Crusaders Against Corruption.
And then his statement, and you've given me time to even comment on it without prior knowledge to me. It's okay, you're better discussing it so that I can give my opinion on it. I think this is not acceptable. This is not right. You're running shows. I said I'm not a reciprocity of all knowledge to respond to that without this time, especially when it's a panel. I don't think it is right. Okay. But that notwithstanding, I think there are a lot of the things that he has said, and Aban key steps. Aban take key steps, especially the tax exemption. I think we have a tax exemption bill. I don't know if it's passed into law. I think it's passed now. Okay. It's something that is important. I support that agencies now, especially it appears we have too many of them. At some point, if you can connect all together and work on it. But where I disagree with him seriously is the banking sector cleanup. You see, look, again, when I say we are making populist statements, it's not an insult, it's the reality and the fact. On the issue of banking sector, what he is suggesting was done by the NDC. They pumped 9 billion cedis into the banking sector to clean it up. It didn't work. It didn't work. So you're saying, the same results. Now that means so we needed to do something differently. Okay. He talked about the fact that Abamba collapsed private business. And I was asking you to ask him. He should mention the companies Abamba Guno. You didn't ask him. He didn't even mention any. So I'm yielding my time to you. Mention the companies we came to collapse in this country. Wilson, I'm yielding my time to mention the companies we came to collapse in this country.
I should mention what?
Yes, companies you're collapsing in this country.
I just gave you the finance sector. Oh, I didn't give you the finance sector. The banking sector.
It's okay. Did we collapse the banking sector or the banks? We consolidated them. What are you talking about?
See, the difference between consolidation and collapse. What do you mean by consolidation?
That means that we've scrapped it off.
But what happened?
Wait, you don't know. I'm explaining.
Okay.
First of all, this is what happened. You buy be who say the managers of those banks. Sika Ghana buying the more farm one. That's not what they were doing. So you buy and you be come in abomu. Say the be a bit me managing ye. And you know why we did that? So that you Abina Watson, Mimi Kofi Amea. Any questions here, you seek our bank and yeah, should you seek. If we had collapsed the bank like he is describing, no, and you lose your money. Did you lose your money? So why do we keep saying these things? When we know say they are not true, we are intelligent enough say they can no correct. As we keep hammering it because we want to insult the intelligence of Ghanaians.
Okay.
The depositor now the depositor now Nisika war in the GN Bank. No. Why Nisika actually no? This is the person we Ghanaians, we in the MPP, we in the government, we are looking at, not the company. Which company?
Emmanuel Wusi Junior, Crusaders Against Corruption, and Nnawotwi Yi, and Kofi Amea, or your Director of External Affairs at the Madi MPP. Mamena says, Sawo Jibre, a sharing and a pay a sansu eti. Now a live, a Asempa 94.7. Now a year, Parkwesi, Yankee. You know a board chairman at the Masunu Assurances Ghana Limited. Parkwesi Yankee, ya we board chairman. Sunu Assurances Ghana Limited. And I wagoda. Parkwesi, on behalf of the Multimedia Group Limited, you wish you a happy birthday. You saw body in some shop day and in Quatinting at the Mamidi. Ede Abina Pokoa ahwennie Wabe Kofi Ampadwa kwasi sia Frank Wolanyo camera sound esi wo hene na Abdullahi Awudu penyefo ni nyina yeda masesa mo bo chidom emadwumade eba wakom na wotwe se ne ye behia biom yakra mu nyina